Good morning again, my beloved. It is Monday, 7:30 Central Time, and I just want to ask you, are you helping God? Most of the time, helping God, we're at best just dead weight. God just uses the opportunity to let us be involved in His work. Let me tell you a story about dead weight because God's in it, you helping Him, God's in it for the kiss. Let me tell you a story. When I was younger, my daughter was about 4 or 5. I had a weight set in the backyard, and I would go and lift weights, and she would say, "Daddy, I want to help you lift." And at 3, 4, and 5, kids are at that age where they just want to kiss you and want to hold your face and tell you how much they love you and Daddy, I'm never going to leave. And she was at that stage. And so she loved going and helping me work out. And what that amounted to was I would pick up the bar with the weights on it, and she would hold on to the bar facing me, and I would pick it up, put it on my chest, and then as I picked it up, I would kiss her on the way up, and then bring it back down and kiss her on the way back down, and then put the weight down and do it all over again. And I loved having her out there, and she loved the idea of thinking she was helping me, and all she was really doing was being dead weight. She was literally the only thing worse is if she would have kicked and fought, and a lot of times that's what we do when we're supposedly helping God. It makes it even worse. But I wasn't in it for her holding onto the bar and being excess weight. I was in it for the kiss. And I promise you, God loves you desire anywhere, your desire to help him because he's in it for the kiss. God loves the fact that you want to help, that you want to do something, that you want to be involved. But, beloved, God doesn't need our help. He chooses to allow us to be involved. That should be freeing for you and I. That should absolutely set you and I free with the understanding that God doesn't need us, but He chooses to use us. He chooses to let us be involved. It ought to take all the pressure off of your abilities and your doing it right and all that kind of stuff because God will help you get it right. And because God doesn't need you and chooses to use you, it should be freeing from a works mentality. You and I taking credit for doing something is like a strand, one single strand of hair that gets caught up in the 3 foot wide cables that hold up the Golden Gate Bridge. Those cables are cables wrapped up in cables. They're 3 foot in diameter. And if a single strand of hair got caught up in that 3 foot cable, for it to brag about what it can lift is like you and I bragging about what we can do. I love what the Apostle Paul said about people who were bragging about what they could do and they could do this and they could do that. Some could sing and some of them could play the guitar and some of them could preach and others of them could administrate and they were bragging about whatever it was they could do. And Paul said to them, "What do you have that you weren't given?" The truth is, there is nothing you and I have that we weren't given. Our very breath is a gift from God. If you can preach, if you can teach, if you can sing, if you can weld, if you can paint, if you can draw, if you can administrate, if you can encourage, if you can do any of these things and more, 10,000 things more, they're all a gift from God. And the best way you and I can help God is to be submissive, to just be available for Him to use at His bidding. If He says to go, we go. If He says to stay, we stay. If He says to speak, we speak. If He says to be quiet, we be quiet. So are you helping God? And thinking about it, it's a play on words. Being dead weight is not that bad of a deal because God told us to reckon ourselves dead. Dead people don't kick and scream and complain and murmur all the way to trying to do what God has asked them to do. Like Jonah, whining and complaining, running from God. He had to be talked into it another way. He had to go to whale seminar to do what God asked him to do. You know, being dead to sin and being dead to yourselves is one of the best ways you could actually help God, because then you just do what He tells you to do and you go where He tells you to go. So I'm asking you today, are you helping God? Are you helping Him in a way that you think you're doing all the work when really He's doing all the heavy lifting? Well, if you are, let me encourage you. Wait for the kiss. Wait for that intimate moment with God, because that's what He's actually after. The fact that you're willing to help Him excites Him, but He knows that you're just holding on to the bar. But as He lifts that bar, as He does the heavy lifting of making that miracle happen today in someone's life, what He's doing for you and I is kissing us on the way up and on the way down. And I just love that analogy because the Lord showed me that's what I'm doing with you. You think you're helping me, but you're just holding the bar. But I want to kiss you on the way up. I want to kiss you on the way down. And I just want you to know you are loved. So, my friends, I am so grateful for you watching today. I have told you I've begun a new process of when I'm done, I'm done. So I'm done. If you think this video would help somebody you're connected to, would you click share? Would you send it to someone? Maybe you don't even know if it would help them, but it did something for you. If it made your heart stir, if it made you feel good, send it to someone else. Maybe it'll help them feel good as well. I want to give a shout out in closing to some new friends I made this weekend. My wife and I got a chance to go to Lebanon, Virginia, and we share it at a wild game dinner. Friend Leo Duty put it on. He was a tremendous man of God. Had some really good friends. I mentioned a few of them that I remember: Stretch and Scott and Steve, and then there was Michelle and Becky and others that were just wonderful people. Mike and Matt at the table that we were at had a great time. The place was packed. There was people waiting who just were hoping somebody would back out so they could come in and be a part. It was wonderful food, wonderful fellowship. And then Pastor Jeffrey Kinder, who allowed us to speak at his church there in Rosedale, Virginia. Great group of people. They loved us well, and he let us share there. And it's just beautiful country, a beautiful city, beautiful people. I want to say thank you so much for being so kind to us. Maybe we can get together again. Love you all so much. Thank you. Have a great week. Look forward to seeing you next Monday.